Hello, in this video I am going to run through every single card in my Sen Triplets Control Esper Commander Deck. I'm going to run through the creatures, the singular planeswalkers, artifacts and enchantments, sorceries and instants, and lands that make up my Sen Triplets deck. For 2, a white, a blue, and a black, it's a 3/3 legendary artifact creature human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't cast spells or activate abilities and plays with their hand revealed. You may play lands and cast spells from that player's hand this turn. The goal of my deck is to empty your opponent's hands, take the good cards, leave them lands, and counter or remove anything else from play. So usually I would start with the creatures, but I'm going to start with the instants and sorceries here since I think that they are some of the most important in the deck. Because the deck is focused on playing my opponent's stains, Inevitable Betrayal is good. For sorcery, suspend 3, 1, a blue and a blue. Search target opponent's library for a creature card and put that card onto the battlefield under your control. That player shuffles. You can get just a big idiot, or you can get an answer to a problem. Wrath of God, 2, a white and a white for a sorcery. Destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. This is a control build, let's control the board. Wash away, 1 blue for an instant. Counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand, or you can cleave it. For 1, a blue and a blue, you may cast this spell for its cleave cost. If you do, remove the words that come in square brackets. So in that case, it would just be a cancel and counter any spell. There are plenty of spells that are cast from exile. You know, if you're playing against a Prosper deck, or red has exile and you can cast it this turn, but Wash Away can also just hit your opponent's commanders since they were not cast from your the owner's hand. Summary Dismissal, blue, and 2 for an instant, exile all other spells and counter all abilities. Maybe you're playing against a crazy +1/+1 counter deck, or a crazy, let me think. I have the prowess deck. Or you just want to counter a planeswalker ability or something. This can do that. So it can exile spells or just counter abilities if you need it to. Mystic Confluence is 3, a blue and a blue for an instant. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. At a bare minimum, you can pay 5 and just draw 3 cards. Or you can control 3, return 3 things to its owner's hand, or you can make them counter a spell. So sometimes it says 5 mana, counter something unless you pay 6 since they don't have 6, and draw a card. It's very flexible. It's good in this deck. Tail's End, for blue and a 1, it's an instant, counter target activate ability, triggered ability, or legendary spell. Comes up good. At bare minimum, it's 2 mana, hit a commander, or one of the other million legendary spells that are played. Legendary artifacts, legendary enchantments, legendary creatures, triggered abilities, activated, tons, the whole 9 yards. Ink Shield, 2, a white and a black for an instant, prevent all combat damage to be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 flying black inkling creature token with flying. So they hit you for 30, you make 32 ones, and the damage is prevented. This card will end the game very well, because your opponents think they're swinging all out at you. You take it all, you absorb it, you ink shield it, and you hit them back. Literally twice as hard, because for every 1 they deal you, you get a 2/1. Render Silent, counter target spell, its controller can cast spells this turn. Shuts them up. Render Silent is good. Theoretical Duplication, for 2 and a blue, it's an instant. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. So you can have a copy of their commander. You can have a copy of their, Galta, their mana tripler. Whatever it is, you can have a copy of it. And since we're focused on this idea of controlling things and then getting copies and playing with your opponent's cards, Theoretical Duplication does that. Obscura Charm is white, a blue, and a black for an instant. Choose 1. Return target multicolored permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tapped. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. Or destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. A lot of flexibility. At a bare minimum is like pay 3, counter an instant or sorcery, or just destroy something, or return something back into play, which is good. This is Whirlpool Dismissal, I think. That's what it's called, at least I know what it does. For blue 2, you counter everything unless their controller pays 4, so there's another control spell. Rebuff the Wicked, counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. Just 1 little white mana. They might think it's Mana Tithe, so they hold 1 up. Rebuff the Wicked can just take of anything that targets your stuff. And sometimes, because your opponents want to destroy their own things that you now control through Sen Triplets or through any of your other cards, this is not a permanent you control, so you can rebuff it. And they're going to destroy the things that you took from them. Insidious Will is 2, a blue and a blue for an instant, counter target spell, or choose new targets for a target spell, or copy target instant sorcery spell, and you can choose new targets for the copy. A lot of options, a lot of good options here. Changing the targets of things is just as good as copying and getting your own target if it targets your thing. But if they're destroying an opponent's enchantment, you can destroy one of their enchantments too. Good old counter spell. Dovin's Veto for whites and a blue. It's an instant. This spell can be countered. Counter target non-creature spell. Joy Disruption for 2 mana. Counter something unless they pay 1. Or on the backside, enters tapped and it's a land. So lots of flexibility. By invitation only is 3, a white and a white for a sorcery. Choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures. I had a problem in my play group with people playing indestructible things, so I couldn't destroy them. So I started putting by invitation only into my decks because they sacrificed them. Evacuation Technique for 3 and a white. It's a sorcery with Demonstrate. When you cast this spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for the copies. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. So you can destroy something, have one of your opponents destroy something, and then you get to destroy another thing. So if you have a player that you're, doing well in the game with, you can have them target one of your opponents and then also destroy something. And that's a lot of value for 1 card. Good old Mana Tithe. Yeah, it's 1 mana. It can sneak up on a player. Mandate of Peace, white, 1 for an instant. Cast only during combat. Your opponents can cast spells this turn, and you end the combat phase. So all the attackers, you negate the attackers. There's no damage that happens, and if there was a spell on the stack, it's just gone. Very underplayed card, very good. Disdainful Stroke, 2 mana, counter something big. And Sublime Epiphany, for 4, a blue and a blue, it's an instant. Choose 1 or more. Counter target spell, counter target activated or triggered ability, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Credit token is a copy of a creature you control, or target player draws a card. So you can just choose as many as applicable in a game, and that's a great card there. So those are all the instants and sorceries in the control build. Next up, there's plenty of enchantments and artifacts, but this does count mana rocks. So let's go through them. Light Mine Field is 2, a white and a white for an enchantment. Whenever 1 or more creatures attack, it deals damage to each of those creatures equal to the number of attacking creatures. So your opponents can't attack with 3 3/3s because it kills them all. They can't attack with 4 creatures if any of them have less than 4 toughness. So it can really slow down the board. It doesn't mean they can only attack with 1 thing. It just slows down the board. And it doesn't get removed as quickly as something that would just say only 1 player can attack with 1 thing. Because this helps everyone. Not everyone doesn't want to be attacked by the squirrel player. Everyone wants to avoid the goblin player. So Light Mine Field is good. Cunning Rhetoric is black and 2 for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent attacks you with 1 or more, whenever an opponent attacks you and or 1 or more planeswalkers you control, exile the top card of that player's library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it's mana of any color to cast it. So whenever they attack you, you get the top card of the library and you can cast it. And the whole point of Sen Triplets is to play your opponent's things. This it doesn't prevent them from attacking you, but you get more value and access to more cards. Treachery. Blue 3, when it comes into play on top 5 lands, gain control of enchanted creature. You want to play with your opponent's stuff? Play Treachery. Mystic Remora. For 1 blue, it has cumulative upkeep 1. Whenever an opponent successfully casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card, and they have to pay 4 to negate that effect. Mystic Remora is a good card in the early game. Arcane Signet. All decks, since Throne of Eldraine came out, for the rest of time, will play an Arcane Signet. Orzhov Signet. 2 mana tap, add white and black. We're not playing green, so I'm playing, I think all of the Signets. Let me see. Nope, not all of them, just these 2. Mind's Dilation, super fun card. For 5, a blue and a blue, it's an enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of their library. If it's an on-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. You still get your opponent's things, and you get the top card of their library. So it doesn't come out of your hand. You get access to more cards, and you can play them for free. Minus Annihilation is a fun card. Metallurgic Summonings. You saw the number of instants and sorceries in this deck. It's like 20. 3 blue, it's an enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create an XX colorless construct artifact creature token where X is that spell's mana value. For 3, a blue, exile it. Return all instants and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only if you control 6 or more artifacts. I don't know how often you're actually going to have 6 or more artifacts, but just making creature tokens every time you cast an instant sorcery spell, which is something your deck is already doing anyway, is just good. Anticipation Field. Whenever a permanent deals damage to you, return to its owner's hand. This accomplishes 2 things for you. A, you can't just keep taking damage over and over again. And B, it goes back into their hand. And if they don't have the mana, we could take it out with Sen Triplets, which is fun. Chromatic Lantern. Lands you control off tap, add 1 mana of any color, add 1 mana of any color. This doesn't say you have the... If Sen Triplets was printed now, and not like a decade or 2 ago, it would say you can cast spells from their hand as though they're a mana of any color. But Sen Triplets does not. So you need to have Chromatic Lantern type effects to just add that kind of mana. Same with Fellwar's Tome. For 2 colorless, it's an artifact tap. Add 1 mana of any color to your... Add 1 mana... Okay, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color that land and opponent controls could produce. I was trying to read it in the new text, and I couldn't do it fast enough. So, if your opponent is playing a mono green deck, and you don't have green in your deck, obviously, we're playing Esper. Well, their lands have green, and so Fellwar's Tome can give you that green to cast their spells. Tempting Contract is 4 colors for an artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent who does, you make a treasure. This gives you colored mana, and is a little group huggy, but it gives you the colored mana you need to cast their spells. Telepathy is 1 blue enchantment. Your opponent's player with their hands revealed. Sen Triplets only chooses 1 opponent at a time. Who you choose first, use your telepathy. Smothering Tithe, I don't really explain why that's good. Bile Consumption is 1, a blue and a black. All creatures have at the beginning of your upkeep. Sacrifice this creature unless you pay 1 life. We're a control deck, don't forget. I know we've gone off topic, but we're a control deck, and, if they have 8 creatures that are taking 8 damage, they're going to take 8 damage so many times. If they might just let their tokens die. They can't keep an army of goblins or zombies or cats around if they're losing to Vile Consumption. Staff of Eden, Volt's Key is 6 colorless for a legendary artifact from Assassin's Creed. When it enters the battlefield, put a legendary permanent card not named Staff of Eden, Volt's Key from a graveyard onto the battlefield out of your control. Any graveyard. Tap, draw a card for each creature you control but don't own. Card's very good. You're wanting to play with your opponent's stuff, and then you can use it to draw cards after you cast spells you don't own with Sen Triplets. Mana Log Tax. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell, you make a treasure. You're a control deck. You're maybe trying to incentivize them not to play 2 spells. At the worst case, you get a treasure, and you can use it to cast their spells. Elixir of Immortality. You're a control deck. You need to not deck. For 1 artifact, 2, tap, gain 5, shuffle it in your graveyard, enters owner's library. Soaring. Rustic Study. Declaration of Naught is blue and a blue. When it comes into play, name a card, blue, counter, target spell with that name. Choose one of your opponent's commanders and watch them be very sad. Those are all the artifacts and enchantments in the builds. Now it's on the creatures. And I will say the creatures are mostly to support the rest of the deck. An example would be Dika, Fractal Theorist. For 4 and a blue, it's a legendary creature, human wizard. It's a 3/3 with Magecraft. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, make a 0/0 fractal, put X counters on it where X is the mana value. Or you can pay 4 and target creature token can be blocked this turn. You're already counting instant and sorceries. You get creatures off of them, can act as blockers or attackers. Mother of Runes. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Your opponents are going to try to destroy your creatures because you took their creatures. You took their commander. You took cards out of their hand that they wanted to play with, which means they don't want to play against them. Mother of Runes can protect them. Vagaroth, Blood Sky Sire. For 2 and a black, it's a legendary creature, Demon Rogue with Death Touch. It's a 2/3 with Boast. For black and a 1, target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top. It's yourself. Or you can have it Boast, and then if you can play cards, if you can make them draw, I don't know. You could do some convoluted things, which I think is why I put it in the deck. Like, oh, maybe they could draw it, and if they can't cast it, then I can cast it. But that's a lot of hoops. Like, you can, if you have the mana and your opponent doesn't have enough mana, then you could put a 8th drop into their hand. They have to draw it. They have to keep it in their hand, and you can play with Sen Triplets, which is fun. Lazov Dimir Mastermind. For blue, black, legendary creature shapeshifters, a 3/3 with hexproof. When a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you may have this card become a copy of that card, except for its name is Lazov Dimir Mastermind. It's legendary and it's other types, and has hexproof and this ability. So anytime something goes into the graveyard, dying, milling, discarding, sacrificing, you can have Dimir Mastermind possibly become a copy of it. And again, if your goal is to play cards that are your opponent's cards, Lazov does that. Fallen Shinobi also does that. For 3 blue and a black, it's a 5/4 zombie ninja with Jujutsu. For 2, a blue and a black. So if you're trying to unblock attack or 2 of your hand, you can put this in instead. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top 2 cards of their library. Until end of turn, you may play those cards without paying their mana cost. Again, play with your opponent's stuff. Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. For 2, a white and a blue, it's a legendary creature, Human Advisor 2/3. White spells and blue spells cost 1 less to cast, and spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast. Your control deck. Godhead of Awe. For white or blue, white or blue, white or blue, white or blue, white or blue. It's a creature spirit avatar, 4/4 flying. Other creatures are 1/1s. I believe Elish Norn is also in the deck. Let me see. Nope, it must be a different one of my decks. So you can just kill everything. But Godhead of Awe makes all of your opponent's creatures very small, including Yon. It makes all of your opponent's creatures very small, which is good for you. Nimrus Una's Trickster. For 3, a blue and a black, it's a 1/6 legendary creature, fairy knight with flash and flying. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, instance, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand, the other into your graveyard. So you can just draw a card, essentially, or fill your graveyard, and you get flexibility, so that's good. Thieving Varmint. For 1 and a black, it's a 2/1 creature varmint, death touch, lifelink. Tap, pay life, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast spells you don't own. We don't have a lot of fixing because we're not playing green. And we need a ramp because we can't play land anywhere else because we're not green. The Varmint. Fate Spinner. For 1, a blue and a blue. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player chooses draw stat, main phase, or combat phase. They have to skip that phase. So they can either not draw a card, not cast, non-instance, or not attack. Control deck. Viga the Watcher. For 1, a blue and a white. It's a legendary creature, bird, spirit, flying, 2/2. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, draw a card. That's your command zone. That's your opponent's hands. That's your opponent's hands. That's what your deck does. So this is good there because you can draw more cards. Silent Arbiter. For 4 colors, it's a 1/5 artifact creature construct. No more than 1 creature can attack, and no more than 1 creature can block each combat. Slow the game down. Patrol decks like to slow the game down. Jin Gataxias Progress Tyrant is 5, a blue and a blue for a legendary creature for Phyrexian Praetor. It's a 5/5. Whenever you cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. The ability only triggers once each turn. Whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter it, it triggers only once each turn. You get twice as many things, your opponents get half as many things. Well, your things doubled for the first time, your opponent's things is canceled for the first time. Xanathar Guild Kingpin. It's 4, a blue and a black for a 5/6 legendary creature, Beholder. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. Until end of turn, that player can cast spells. You may look at the top card of the library anytime. You may play from the top card of the library, and you may spend mana as well as mana of any color to cast spells this way. As I said, if Sen Triplets was printed today, this is what it would say. It's a good card in this deck. Wavebreak Hippocamp. For 2 and a blue, it's a 2/2 enchantment creature, Horsefish. At the beginning of your... Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, draw a card. I'm just like reading the card, assuming I know what it does. This is good because we're casting instants and sorceries, and we need to refill our hand. Esper Sentinel. For 1 white, it's a 1/1 artifact creature, human soldier. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless they pay X or X as its power. We are card hungry. We need to draw as many cards as possible. Thieving Skydiver. For 1 and a blue, it's a creature, merfolk rogue with kicker X where it can't be 0. Flying. When it enters, if it was kicked, gain control of target artifact with mana value X or less. If it's an equipment, attach it. If you pay blue 1 and an extra 1, it's a 2/1 that comes into play with a Soul Ring. And you can get any of your other artifacts from your opponents. There are a ton. Archmage Emeritus. For 2, a blue and a blue, it's a 2/2 when you cast an instant or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. I already explained it many times. We need to draw as many cards as possible. Sig River Cutthroat is a blue and a blue or a black and a blue or a black for legendary creature Merfolk Rogue 1/3. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, you may draw a card. If your opponents are attacking each other and dealt combat damage, you can draw cards, which is great because your hand is going to be empty. If you're handling let me just take a second to talk here. If you're handling, think about it this way. If you are player 1 and there's player 2, 3, and 4, if you use one of your resources, a card in your hand, to deal with one of your opponent's cards in hand, you went down a card and player 2 went down a card. Player 3 and 4 are the same. So you need to draw as many cards as possible so you keep up with resources. Notion Thief, in that same vein, for 2, a blue and a black, it's a 3/1 with flash to human rogue. If an opponent would draw a card except the first one they would draw in each of their draw steps, instead that player skips that draw and you draw a card. So you get to take advantage of their extra draws. Lavinia Azorius Renegade. For white and a blue, it's a 2/2 legendary creature human soldier. Each opponent can cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. They can't cast things for free, and they can't cast big non-creature spells if they don't have enough lands. So if they have a ton of artifacts that they're ramping with, or trying to cast spells for free from exile, or their graveyard, or from their library, from their hand, or anything, Lavinia stops it. Janus Magistrate, your opponent can cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. This includes the command zone. This includes graveyards. This includes exiles. We've already gone over this. It's very good. Earthtide the Corrupted is 2, a white, a blue, and a black for a 3/4 creature wizard legend. Blue tap, sack a creature or enchantment, counter target spell. We make some creature tokens you can sacrifice, but really, you only want to use this if you really need to. The Planeswalker in the deck is Dakon Shadow Slayer. For a white, a blue, and a black, it's a 0 loyalty. It enters the number of loyalty counters on him equals the number of lands you control. +1, surveil 2. -3, exile target creature. -6, may put an artifact card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. This is really meant to be pay 3, exile something. And if you get any more value from that, then it's great. It can gain you life because it can absorb blockers. It can surveil and get you to the cards you need. Or if you happen to have an artifact you wanted to put into play, but I honestly don't even know what that would be. Staff of Eden would be nice. Tempting Contract, Chromatic Lantern, some arcane things, but really it's pay 3, exile target creature. It's a non-creature spell. It's a little different. It's a little fun. Next, I'm going to run through all of the lands. Vault of Champions, taps are white or black. Basic Island, to Swamp, Raphane's Tower, Hollowed Fountain, Urborg, Verdant Catacombs, Shipwreck Marsh, Isolated Chapel, Glacial Fortress, Plains, Swamp, Marsh Flats, Drowned Catacomb, Godless Shrine, Scalding Tarn, Instant, Caves of Kolois, Nimbus Maze, Command Tower, Deserted Beach, Castle Vantris, Misty Rainforest, Underground River, Plains, Watery Grave, Thriving Isle, and put that in the back, Clearwater Pathway, Exotic Orchard, Sea of Clouds, and Fetid Haze. So these 2 lands are Exotic Orchard has the same thing the Follower Stone does, where you need to be able to tap your lands for colors of spells your opponents have. Thriving Isle, you can choose green and then add blue or green, but Exotic Orchard just gives you the lands their lands would produce. That is my Sen Triplets deck in a nutshell, all the cards from it. Let me know any questions you have about it in the comments below. If you're going to build Sen Triplets or have a Sen Triplets deck, what cards really shine in yours? I'm looking for upgrades for mine. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking it since you watched 23 minutes of me talking about this deck. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. May your top decks be ever in your favor. Thanks.